What is the most reliable method of determining whether something has come to an end? What is the most effective method of learning to let go? How do you know God has a plan for your life while you are going through a difficult time? When something comes to a close, it can never be brought back to life. Not even double your efforts will make any difference in improving the situation. A woman had been in a relationship for 8 years, and then one day, her partner told her that he was planning to make some substantial changes in their relationship. And so, he notified her a few days later that he no longer had any interest in her. Despite the fact that it seemed to be a hoax, it was not April 1st. This isn't a joke, believe me. She was bewildered as to how something that seemed to be so real and honest could come to an end so suddenly and unexpectedly. She sought the assistance of friends in order to convince her partner to reconsider, but he refused. After that, one of her friends said something to her that completely changed her life. I really hope it has the same effect on you. According to this friend, when a year draws to a close, we know it has come to a successful conclusion. There are no other alternatives available. This is true regardless of how much fun we had that year. It has no effect on whether or not it recurs. What has transpired is no longer relevant. There is, however, still hope for a more promising new year ahead, and you are on the verge of experiencing better times. So accept the reality that for the time being, it is over and done with. Yes, it is over. I'd want you to persuade yourself that this is the end of the story. It's time to say goodbye to what you had previously. So, just let it go and go on with your life. Because if you don't believe it's over, you'll hold on to it forever. And just as it is not necessary to repair all torn clothing items, so it is that the more you try to heal a strained relationship, the more it deteriorates according to research. There are certain relationships that have reached the end of their usefulness and must be terminated. I know we are completely ignorant of this, but previously, a professor who was engaged in a particular woman's affair said that they no longer push couples to reconcile once a breakup has occurred. Instead, they gave them the option to choose whether or not to reconcile with one another, because they have seen firsthand how couples who have tried in vain to stay together might sometimes end up murdering one another. You can't force others to love you, and God has already taught you this lesson. He doesn't force us to worship Him. He just gives us instructions on what we should do. So you shouldn't feel bad if you tell someone that you need more than what they are currently offering you. However, you should not take it personally because they do not deserve you. It is often said that people can't give what they don't have. In other words, if you come from a home where you are not loved, you will be unable to love others. However, as you can see, Jesus changed the course of the narrative. People despised Jesus, did they? Isn't it true that he was shunned by his own family? Isn't it true that his own friend had deceived him in the first place? Did any of this, on the other hand, have an impact on him? No, he hasn't lost his ability to be sensitive or sympathetic. According to a motivational speaker, she was a grumpy old lady. She quickly realized, however, that this was having a negative impact on her family's life. As a result, she decided to submit to God's plans. You should not be content with just sitting about and listening to others make excuses for what they have willfully refused to change. Accept and let go of the notion that it's over and done with. The way you live your life does not serve as a receptacle into which others may hurl their stale excuses. Following your discovery of the importance of this knowledge, you have to open the door, enter the room, and retrieve all of the treasures that the devil has stolen from your possessions. He managed to convince you that what couldn't be done could be done. And now you've wasted your time as well as your mental health. It is as a result of this that I want you to be in possession of this knowledge. Take a glance in the mirror at yourself. Regain control of your sanity. Choose God above them and let them go. As you can see, God has a plan for everything. So undoing will be pointless unless God has a plan for your life in mind for doing so. It's the same as quitting a job because you're dissatisfied with it and without having a backup plan in place. What strategy do you have in place for paying your bills? When God sends you indications that it's time to let go of someone, it's because He has larger plans for your life than you realize. Yes, you are accurate. As Joe Lawson points out, what we consider to be a disappointment is frequently God placing us in a situation where we may go forward to the next level. This shows that God has a specific purpose for each and every one of us regardless of our circumstance. He does, however, expect us to give our time and energy to the cause. God will not force you to leave a relationship. He does not do that. Instead, He just tells you what He expects you to do and then let you make your own decisions. God's will must be done in order for His brilliance to be seen in your life. From the beginning of time, as recounted in Genesis chapter 1, God's creations have always been beautiful and functional. When He made light out of darkness, He thought it was fantastic. He checked and double-checked the quality of every single thing He created. Additionally, your story will be outstanding as well. In addition, you should be aware that for those who love God, all things work together for their benefit, according to Romans chapter 5 verse 28. For those who have been called according to His purpose. So, can you see how the words purpose and plan go hand in hand? In order for us to anticipate God's purpose for us, we must not believe in a pointless life. That is not how life works. According to Proverbs chapter 19 verse 21, man's plans are innumerable, but the Lord's purpose will stand the test of time and eternity. So we may plan our lives for years ahead of time. But Psalm 127 verse 1 warns us that unless the Lord builds the house, the builder's efforts would be in vain. And if the Lord does not keep watch over the city, the watchman's efforts will be in vain. You wake up early and work till late at night in search of nourishment. The only thing that will bear fruit is God's plan for your life. As stated in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 9, these fruits are of a nature that no human eye has ever seen, no human ear has ever heard, and no human heart has ever understood. All of this has been provided for us by our Father in heaven for those who seek Him. Hallelujah. So knowing that God's plan for your life is completely inexplicable is a fascinating realization. So all that is left for you to do is wait. Please don't be bothered about anything. According to Matthew chapter 6 verse 27, we are not to be worried about anything. I am certain that He who began a